I'm Allendale's chief meteorologist Ryan Martin with a look at your midday weather update. Surface analysis right now shows a nice line of thunderstorms stretching all the way down into southern parts of Illinois. This line of thunderstorms is gradually pushing east, knocking on the door of Chicago and eastern parts of Illinois. But within the line itself, things are kind of rotating to the north-northwest. So this is a recipe maybe for some fairly significant moisture before all is said and done to fall over parts of the central Corn Belt. Low pressure that this is all kind of rotating into is still back in Wisconsin, eastern Iowa, and you know what? We still have a low back around Omaha, Nebraska as well. So slow-moving event here. This cool front that's triggering everything, not an exceptionally fast mover. But we are going to be seeing a threat of strong to severe weather maybe over the eastern Corn Belt, Indiana, and Ohio as we go through the later afternoon and nighttime hours. And I think we'll see some lingering moisture probably even into tomorrow until this front passes through. We've got strong high pressure on the backside of the front. It's working its way into the western and central Dakotas right now. But like we said, this front is not moving exceptionally fast. Latest check of models say that we've got moisture off and on that we're going to be dealing with through the end of the week, probably coming in a couple of pulses. So, for example, in the Corn Belt, you've got this batch that we're working on right now that may linger right on into tomorrow afternoon or evening. The first pulse moving up into Ontario, but I think a second band initiates along the cold front tomorrow late afternoon from central Indiana back down into the boot heel of Missouri. Then we've got a dry day or two in the Corn Belt before another system comes in this weekend. This one fairly wide-ranging, got some good upper-level low support out of the Dakotas and the upper Mississippi Valley working in. I think it produces probably a half to three-quarters, maybe 1 full inch across the heart of the Corn Belt Saturday and Sunday mostly, although we will admit Friday, late afternoon, Friday evening, things will be going pretty hot and heavy over western Corn Belt areas like Minnesota, Iowa, even into eastern parts of Nebraska. Then we should put together a couple of drier days as we go through the first part of next week, Monday through we'll say at least Thursday, but by late Thursday into Friday, we're going to be watching as another front comes into the upper Midwest. Could have half to three-quarter inch rainfall potential there, coverage about 70% or so, and it should move across the rest of the Corn Belt through the 6th. And we'll see another system, GFS, showing a strong front around the 9th and 10th. So there's moisture coming, but you notice the windows in between seem to be a little bit bigger. And the other thing that I'll point out is as we go through next week and head into June, we're seeing the coverage not be, all-encompassing. The fronts look good, but it's going to be a scenario where, the western part of the Corn Belt gets better chances than the east, or the east gets better chances than the west. So we're not looking at the sweeping fronts that get everybody as much now as we go into June. So take coverage to heart as we talk about that in the days ahead. A prime example, that system for the 4th and 5th in the upper Midwest, western Corn Belt, 70% coverage there. You know what? As it tracks east, we may not do any better than 50% or even 40%. Across the central and eastern Corn Belt. So those are the things we'll have to watch. Let's shift gears and move out of the Corn Belt, go back into the hard red winter wheat areas. Boy, I'll tell you what, rain just continues to fall. I think we put together a fairly dry period for the next 24 hours in Kansas, Nebraska. I will be watching very closely, though, for thunderstorms to fire off starting early tomorrow morning and then going through the afternoon tomorrow over Oklahoma and down into Texas. Eventually, that's going to lead to precipitation up over Kansas as well as we head through tomorrow night and into Thursday. So still have the potential for some strong weather there going through at least Thursday night. If the cards fall right, we could even see it go into Friday, especially Oklahoma, Texas. You got to look at rainfall totals before this week is done. Maybe 2 inches or better. From I-70, you could even say I-80 southward. Then we see general rains over Nebraska as we go into the weekend. Next week, though, we are starting to turn the page. Maybe we put together some dry days from Sunday on through next Wednesday, Thursday at least, and even then toward the end of the week. The systems seem like they want to be over the northern half of the plains, Nebraska and the Dakotas, not so much to the south. So we're keeping our fingers crossed, and we're hopeful that we can start to see some dry down and some easing of the flooding over the central and southern plains as we go through next week. Time will tell. Temperatures looking fairly close to normal over the next couple of weeks. Concerned about some slightly cooler air trying to push into the northern plains, but it doesn't look like to me it's going to be a big deal across most parts of the listening area. As a matter of fact, as I see things going through probably Friday night into Saturday, temperatures upper 30s to low 40s. While that's not a home run in terms of wonderful weather for crops, it's definitely not going to be damaging at this point. That's the way things are stacking up. Have a great rest of your afternoon. If you got any questions on the weather, give us a call at Allendale. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin.